If you're a business owner, you probably know that more views on social media from the right people means more leads, more money in the bank, and just overall more business. But you probably also know that social media feels complicated and that if you're not careful, you could spend an incredible amount of time getting absolutely no results. In this video, I'm gonna very quickly break down the system that I use for myself. I get about 250 million views every single month. I'll throw some stats up on screen. I've been a social media creator for 10 years, but also the exact same system that I use for my clients, where the average client gets 1 million views within 60 days. And that's the average, or I should say median client. Because I recently just had a client come in within 2 weeks. They got 10 million views from starting from zero using this system. Results are gonna vary, right? And it's also, if you go for a more niche audience, you're gonna get a smaller set of views. But also that's what matters to get the leads and conversion. So if you give me 20 minutes or less, maybe it's a few minutes more, I haven't recorded the second half yet, I'm gonna break down the entire system for you. You might be thinking, why am I doing this? Well, I run a service where I do it all for you. So I'm happy to give this system to you for free. You can implement it. Half the people who do this implement it, do it successfully, and then they're able to go on and generate leads from their business. The other half are able to implement this. It starts growing so quickly that they actually need someone like me to come in and run it for them. So that's why I'm giving this to you absolutely for free and truly giving you value here. So that being said, this is everything you need to know about social media and how to form a correct social media strategy that won't take all of your time and will actually get you leads and results for your business. So this will be everything you need to know to actually start posting on social media and getting leads. The first thing that I'm gonna start with is that short form video is key. You need to base your strategy around short form video for a couple of reasons. First, video content is extremely easy for people to consume. It's how people are meant to react and get information. It's something where people will read text, but an average person, especially if they're not warmed up to you or your business, is not going to sit there and read a War and Peace length essay, right? They're barely even going to read a couple lines until they scroll away. But they will give you a couple seconds to convince them to watch the next 30 seconds, the next 60 seconds, the next 90 seconds of a piece of content that is value first. I'll get into that in a little bit. Also, number two, every major social media site, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, has a built-in short-form distribution platform that is intentionally built to give you the best opportunity of success in viewership of the right people, and also the quickest success versus other types of content such as photo content, long-form video content, which is a part of something you can do, and I'll speak about that later. But short-form video, if done correctly, and you know what you're doing, can take you the least amount of time. Some clients, for us, it takes them 2 hours a month because I have a whole crew doing it. But even some consulting clients where I come in and I specifically set up the system designed for them individually, only end up spending about 2 hours every single week doing social media. Find 2 hours on a Saturday, have all the content for the rest of the week, and you'll be done. The second thing is you should have to be on every major platform. One thing I get quite often is, I just want to start on one platform because I don't want to dilute my focus. One good short form, that's vertical, scrollable video, is optimal for all short form focused platforms. If you make a good short video, it's going to do well on Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, a TikTok video, and LinkedIn video. There's a high correlation from the billions of views that I get, the billions of views of the people that I talk to in industry, and the millions, tens and tens of millions of views I get from my clients. I see a correlation that if the video does well on one platform, it will also do well on another platform with very, very minimal tweaks. I recently had a client had a video get 3 million views of the right demographic that also got 1 million on TikTok as well, right? Conversion. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make. The number one biggest mistake is not posting content on social media and not being focused on short form video. The second biggest mistake is just posting top of funnel, that's what it really is, content, value first, we'll talk about that in a second, content on social media, but having nowhere for it to go. You might get all the traffic in the world and some of them will search you up, will call you up, will go to your website. But if you don't have that optimized, your funnel is leaking. You're missing out on so many potential leads, new business, opportunities. You're missing out on us. You need to make sure that you set that up correctly before you even start posting. If you do start posting content without having this set up, you will get an increase in your business, no question, but you don't want to leave money on the table. So if we're going to focus on short form content, what are the things you need to be most focused on? The first thing is value first content. Sometimes when people think, man, I don't think social media is right for my business. I mean, I don't think my potential clients want to see me do a TikTok dance. Of course they don't. I've never had once one of my clients ever do a trend, a TikTok dance, something viral. That doesn't have to be social media. That is a misconception of what social media is because you happen to see an occasional viral video that is something ridiculous or crazy on your feed. Quite a bit of social media consumption is value first, educational, interesting to a certain person. Your content has to be focused on providing tangible, actionable value to your ICP. If you're a financial advisor, then I have a few financial advisor clients, for example. I have them speak about the markets. I have them give their perspective, something where a potential prospect could listen to that video, feel like they got a lot of value, but also start to think very highly of this specific financial advisor. If you're a lawyer and you're at a big law firm, you should give out very high-level, practical, actual legal perspective. I know that there's regulation compliance, but there's ways to get around it where you can speak around those words so that someone who's a potential prospect can get value from you for nothing, for free. You're giving them something of value and you're asking for nothing directly. You just let them know that you can do more. Very similar to this video. I'm going to give you something valuable that you can take, implement it into your business and see results within 30 to 60 days. And I'm not asking for anything. It's a YouTube video. I am letting you know if you want a done-for-you service where we go in and we come up with all your topics, write all of your scripts, go in and film you in person wherever you are, edit your videos and post, do everything and ask for 2 hours a month. That is something that me and my team can do, and we do a very good job. But we're very selective, so just take this value from this content. You don't even have to go to me. You can implement this yourself. But it's the same idea. The second thing I want to focus on is called content pillars. This is a tool, it's not a rule. Content pillars are supposed to be categories of content that when you go to make, like film a video, script a video, come up with an idea, that it can fall into one of these categories. You can always come up with a video that doesn't fit into one of these categories and make it anyways. So think of it not as a hard set rule, but it's more of a tool. Not only does it make content easier to make and produce and come up with, it also gives consistency to your page. Here's a couple examples of 3 content pillars, very typical content pillars that we might implement for a client. So this is almost breaking it down into top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel for content itself. I know social media content is top of funnel, but there's funnels within, there's slabs and sections of top, middle, and bottom of funnel within your top of funnel social media. I'll give you an example. Pillar 1 content. Maybe you make 70% of your content into pillar 1. Ranking videos, rating videos, tier list videos, Q&A videos, my story videos, not so in-depth educational content. So a ranking video, let's say that you are let's say financial advisor, and there's a ranking video where someone might say having a diversified portfolio. You would rank that highly, give a reason why. Putting all your money into a high risk opportunity that one of your buddies told you, that's a low rank, maybe a 1 out of 10, right? Being able to give little bits of value in a very easy to consume format. Rating videos, similar thing. Tier list, you can give it at a tier of something actionable that your clients may or may not do. Q&A, very quick questions, such as if you're a realtor, for example, what are, hey, Sarah, let's say your name's Sarah, someone behind the camera might be like, hey, Sarah, I'm about to list my home. What are the 3 things I have to do right now? Or not so in-depth educational content. So this is educational value first. You're giving your perspective, opinion, advice on a topic, but you don't go as in the weeds as you would for another video, which is middle funnel, next pillar. This is where you go more in depth. So if you're a financial advisor here, you might be like, hey, this is something I'm seeing in the markets with interest rates, and you go into the more in-depth dynamics of interest rates. This is going to have fewer views than your pillar 1 top of funnel, but it's also going to have a more nurtured audience and a more quality audience. This is also something where storytelling about your personal stories, your business stories, something similar to build in public, right? So it's like, hey, like in the last 3 months, like this is what we changed at our business and why. right? This is something where it builds more of a relationship, and you're not going to get as wide a viewership as pillar 1, but it's still extremely valuable. And then pillar 3, for example, bottom of funnel, this is something where it's like, what have you done for your clients specifically? If you give a specific case study and walk through it in a way where it's not like, oh, this is, you can only get it if you work with me, but be like, this is what we implemented for Sally and John at X company from my service, and we did this, this was the problem they had, we did this, this, and this is the result that they had. In fact, I'd recommend, as I'm going to talk about hooks in a second, put the result as the hook, and then talk about the problem, and then talk about what you did. Let's honestly jump into hooks because you only have 3 seconds. Instagram came out and said this, not just me pulling a number out of my butt, right? You have 3 seconds before someone decides to watch your video or scroll away to watch to a next video. Dopamine is released in the brain in anticipation of a reward, not when you receive the reward, or disproportional levels. So when you're scrolling, you have a dopamine release to hit scroll because there's a reward below it. So you have to fight to reposition that anticipation to be the rest of your video, not hitting scroll. You need the hook to release that dopamine of someone watching the rest of your video instead of releasing that dopamine to watch a different video and scrolling away. You need to focus on your first line or 2 of your videos more than the rest of your video. 60 to 70% of the time that me and my team spends on our client scripts is in the first line or 2 of the video. That doesn't mean that we don't care about the rest of the video. We absolutely do. If you have a good hook and a bad video, it will not perform well. Both parts need to be good. But putting in front, for example, this is how I took so-and-so from this to that in X number of days, and this is how you can do it yourself. If someone's in that position where they have a similar situation, they are going to listen to you because they want to know how to do it themselves. Editing. You cannot upload a raw video. This YouTube video, long form value first, I'll talk about that later. You can get away with it a bit more. But when it comes to editing, for short form videos, if you don't have a team, like someone like me going in and using Premiere Pro and having really, really sharp edits, you can get away with using something like CapCut. Cut the blanks, add hook text, captions, images, etc. Look up quick tutorials. CapCut is meant to be very user first. And if we're talking about the actual platforms, let's talk about Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn. First, Instagram. We found that optimal is about 3 times per week. In theory, you could post more, but I found that the quality tends to go down and then you burn out, right? One of the most important things, and I don't know if I had it up here or not. I guess I don't have it up here. Consistency, right? Actually, the list is right here. Consistency over time at a lower volume will beat higher volume for a short spurt. If you post every single day for 2 weeks and then leave for 2 weeks, Instagram's actually going to penalize your account versus if you posted once a week, but you posted every single week and you stuck to that, you're going to get significantly better reach, quality reach over time if you do this. Next thing is it's important to optimize your profile. This is something where your story highlights. This is where you can take stories and put them on your profile. They should be covering who you are, what you do, and also client results are a big one, where it's showing what maybe if you're a product company, showing what your product does. If you're a services company, what is the result there, right? If you're a lawyer, what are the situations you got your clients out of? Or what did you win in a settlement? Or if you're a financial advisor, what is the CAGR of your average portfolio and whatever you can present, right? Pin posts. This is something where your story / what you do when you make it into a video, which is in the middle of funnel because that's giving more your personal, what you do. This is something you want pinned on your page. So when people come to you from looking you up, finding your videos organically through Reels, the Reels tab, that they can go to your page and they can watch that pinned video that gives them significantly more context about them. For me, my clients, I go in and do this extremely in depth. We even add a custom link in bio that has a video sales letter, a VSL that you record to give even more context. You don't have to go to that level, but we found it just really gets people to the next game. Next is Facebook. Facebook has nearly 3 billion daily active users, and I almost guarantee you, especially if you have a slightly older demographic buying your product or service, they're on Facebook. A very simple thing here is the dual post. So when you go to Instagram, if you link your Instagram and Facebook account, you can click a button that automatically posts your Instagram content to Facebook. This will help you with volume, and you should do the same thing for your stories. When you're posting a story to Instagram, you can also have it automatically post to Facebook. If you have it automatically post to Facebook, and let's say on Instagram you have a call to action. So something that we might do is something where you might post a video to post a story to Instagram, and you might have something where it says swipe up and say this word and I'll give you this, right? It's something, it's a very common next step for adding value. From there, if you also have that post to Facebook, because Facebook stories are big, make sure you're checking your messages on Facebook so you're not letting any leads slip through. Facebook, pictures actually get reach. Photo content on Instagram does not reach new people. Carousels can if your account is big enough, but for most people watching this video, focus on Reels. If you have relevant photo content that you want to upload, uploading it to Facebook is actually totally fine. Photo content and Reels content both get new reach and distribution to new people. So that's a quick note on Facebook. YouTube Shorts. A lot of people don't even know that this exists, but tens of billions of people watch YouTube Shorts, or tens of billions of views happen every single day on YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts is their version of TikTok, Reels, whatever. Take your short form videos, make a YouTube channel, post them to YouTube Shorts 3x per week. When you make a short form video, go to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and go post. Obviously on Instagram, they can dual post with Facebook, but you got the point. You can also make a long form video, something that is similar to this, where I'm sitting down talking for a while. I wouldn't do this right away. This is good for conversion. It's middle of funnel, where people who discover you through your short videos or go to your website, if you can sit down for 10, 20, 30 minutes and give them more value, similar to this, then you're going to be able to have a much higher conversion on those viewers. You're going to get significantly fewer viewers on YouTube long form. And quite often, I don't recommend business owners start with YouTube long form, or at least give it a second, because it takes significantly more time and the return is so much slower versus if you just did short form. Adding long form on top of a thriving short form is a perfect combination, but I wouldn't start. TikTok. Once again, take those videos and post those on TikTok. TikTok also allows for a lot more volume and also a lot more lower quality volume. So optionally, you can go on TikTok and just record yourself talking to the camera, giving takes about business, giving ideas, giving advice, and post a lot of that content if you want to add more volume on top. A little pro tip is if one of your videos on TikTok goes viral and it's one of the ones you quickly whipped up, you can then take that video, because remember, a good video one platform tends to do well on others, and then download that video and post it across your other channels. This is not something you have to do. It's just if you have a little bit more free time on a Friday night and you're like, hey, I might as well do this, try out some content, get a little bit more top of funnel viewership, not a bad idea there. LinkedIn video. A lot of people don't know, but LinkedIn is pushing short form video on their site as well. They even have a scrollable tab for it. One thing I will say about LinkedIn video is make sure that you write out a longer caption for your video, because about 40 to 50% of LinkedIn viewers will always have audio off because they are maybe scrolling at work and they shouldn't be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn content, photo plus text is also big. This is something on LinkedIn, photo plus long form written text is still a very powerful component. And what I would recommend is taking the scripts of the short form value first videos and stories that you're already making and rewrite them into something that would be a LinkedIn post. Then find a relevant image. Don't use a stock image. Try not to use AI unless it looks really good, and attach that. Image plus long form writing not always, but quite often outperforms, and it always outperforms on average, text only content on LinkedIn. Little pro tip on here is you can connect with roughly up to 100 people, or you can send an invite to connect with roughly up to 100 people every single week with a cap at about 30,000. So you can do this for 5+ years. Find people that are find your ICP, figure out those keywords, search up those people, and hit connect. Do about 10, 15 a day, get into a pattern of doing it. Connecting with these people on LinkedIn, right? If you hit them immediately with a message selling them, this happens all the time on LinkedIn. They're probably going to ignore you. However, if you hit them with a connection on LinkedIn and then they see consistent, valuable content on their feed again and again from you, there's a good chance that they'll reach out to you. You can even hit them with a little bit of value or a direct message a couple weeks later after they've warmed up to you through that content. Also, LinkedIn recommendation systems are very network-based. So if you connect with quite a few of your ICP and they engage with your content or even view your content, it's quite likely that's going to be promoted to very similar people like them, which is true for all platforms, but LinkedIn is very interesting where you can almost growth hack that specific element. And finally, if you are a business owner, you are a lawyer, real estate agent, financial advisor, HVAC, startup founder, right?
I work with an assisted living facility company, a product company. If you are a business owner and ideally you are beyond, if you're raising money, you're beyond seed, maybe you're approaching Series A or beyond. If you're a traditional business services company, you're doing at least $1 million per year, then that's basically the qualification for if I'm to come in and do a done for you service where we do all of this for you. However, even if you are not there yet, or you're getting close, or you're there yet, regardless, I will give you a completely complimentary audit of your social media content that you're posting already, and or either or both the strategy that you come to the call with. I will give you specific actionable value. I ask for nothing. I will give it to you, and very similar to the content that I'm telling you to create, I will give you actionable value, and then I will just tell you what I can do for you. But you will get value in that call regardless. So my Calendly link is in the description of this video. It's also pinned comment on this video on YouTube. So if you think that you qualify, or you're at least curious about learning about social media, or getting a complimentary audit on what you're already doing, book a 30-minute call. It is with me. So I will be telling you, right, I do 250 million views per month. My average client does 1 million in 60 days, and I will give you quite a bit of the blueprint just to hop on that call. So it's worthwhile. Click that link in the description, and then also subscribe to this channel. It's a business channel. I have over 2 million subscribers on my more entertainment content, and on this one, I'm simply focused on providing value. So if you don't want a complimentary audit, which I don't know why you wouldn't unless you're very early on in business, then I understand. Get a complimentary audit later. At a minimum, you can consume content on this channel. And also feel free to message me any questions. But if you're interested, book the link in the description.